For example, if I put my usual Blanc de Blanc champagne at 18, 19 pounds a glass, and I want my customer to discover a new sparkling that I have on the list, I may put and give it a little bit more wider window to be seen by putting the price a little bit lower on the 15 or 16 pounds a glass. That could be something appealing, but of course I need to see if after the first glass the customer is particularly interested in having the second one. That probably will give me as a sommelier a good reason to understand that my price is set right. So if I need to consider these numbers into the UK market, I was still not going below 1 million pounds in terms of investments and in terms of how the UK market is now giving a little bit more attention into this sparkling market.
Adriana, thank you so much once again for helping us out here and being the face of sparkling wines for the London Wine Competition. To the people who are attending the call, Adriana is an expert, has been a top sommelier in UK for many years. And I think we are very proud to have her talk about the sparkling wine category and how that is going in the UK market. So this is a very valuable call for all the audience out here, really, especially for the sparkling producers. I really want to use this platform to make it a discussion with her. So Adriana, all over to you. I think the stage is yours and I'll be helping you out with your slides.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Adriana Valentini. I was raised and born, just to introduce myself a little bit, in Milan. And of course, my passion and my ambition to become one of the top female sommelier led me to travel the world. And back in 2012, I decided to move to London, and where I, of course, was ruling a few different jobs. The main one was to be the former head of beverage at the iconic Oxford and Cambridge Club, which was, and it is, a traditional London private members club in Pall Mall in London. I got my degree with the WSET till the level 3, and I'm a WS diploma student at the moment. I'm trying myself to get into wine always in the best possible way by leading as an example and attending executive management in food and beverage wherever I can, just to refresh even my export skills. And of course, I do care a lot by thinking that everything started from my ICE career here in Milan, what is the Italian Sommelier Association, is called ICE. I'm very much very joyful about having you here because, of course, for me, languages are very important. So English now is the main one, but I can also speak Spanish and German. So if you guys have any question in other language, please just raise them and I will be happy to answer. So thank you for being here today with me. So I have received a few questions and I do appreciate that you guys took time to send me these ones. And the first one is, of course, how will the category of still wine be something that UK also should be focusing on apart from the sparkling wine, because they actually limit the market. I guess that this is something I would agree on. Mainly because of one reason. The price of the sparkling wine in the UK is quite high comparison to others at the moment on the market. And sometimes, even if you like to try your own sparkling, the so-called English phase, as someone do call the English sparkling, sometimes you are put off by the price that you might get in supermarket or other retail shops. So I guess the quality needs to be in both category. Of course, a Chardonnay is the main character as a grape variety in the UK, followed by the Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. So I guess a still wine made by Chardonnay should be focusing on to present the wine as an alternative alongside sparkling wine. Definitely, it's something that can go hand by hand, and it will allow also consumer to consider other options that they can have. Where you go, sparkling wine are always the theme that are related to celebrations. And of course, if you are in a mood to celebrate something, you will pick something fizzy. But it shouldn't be just something that it comes from abroad. So staycation taught us how to really pick whatever is on the market on sale or whatever is as an option. So I guess it is something that is very appealing, but it needs to be followed by quality. Sometimes this is just something that you need to be reached, in my opinion. Thank you.
So what impact on the wine market are de-alcoholized wines having, and what you think the future is for that?
De-alcoholized wine that follows under the category also non-alcoholic wine, so wine with no alcohol at all, have made a great impact in the recently year. What I can see and the future for this category will be always more and more wider and more appreciated by especially younger generation. We need to consider something that is open to any one of us at the moment. People are now considering more healthy product for their own safety and healthy stuff. So they are more concerned about their health, especially after pandemic. We need to put this in capital letters, or because of fitness reasons or personal beliefs. So this category has make a reason in the global market, I guess, because of what it can achieve by enjoying this category. We need to consider two big things. So people who love to drink do like also the effect that alcohol has on them, because it makes you a little bit more relaxed with people, more enjoyable. But the market has also considerably put an effort in understanding that drink is to drink in a considerable way and responsibly. So I guess this new trend that finally has a way to be understood is just to go along with the normal market. What I mean is, for example, people who are gathering in a social environment do like to enjoy and to go back home with their own feet, on their own feet. So I guess this is something that is an alternative for people who want to enjoy without feeling the alcohol effects. Whether you are in an event, you can have both type of clients enjoying their sparkling, for example, but it needed not to be considered something that puts you off. I guess the main concern is for people who normally drink alcohol and sparkling wine or still wine the normal way, is that they consider the alcoholized wine as something where the wine has been cooked, because of course the method that is normally used to try to follow this distillation process. But now high quality de-alcoholized sparkling wine or still wine are trying not to have this side effect, to feel a little bit more the special aromas, fruity mainly, that are there, and to consider not to elevate the temperature, so to control the temperature during this process. The other one that is also used is the reverse osmosis process. Even this one is put in the alcoholized wine, but at the same time, this is not sustainable, because we are going to a greener way of considering even wine, because of course it uses too much water to do this process. So I guess the way the wine are now reaching this sober attitude is particularly nice when people are curious about trying something. It doesn't mean you need to now follow just one route. It just needs to be something that goes along with that. I'm not an extremist in my way of being a sommelier and a person working in the wine business. So I guess there is a potential for both category on the market. But we consider the last bit that the people are now curious about anything new on the market. So to attract interest, you need to be mentally open, and you need to follow quality in every kind of technique you use. And then you will have your own gangs of people that follows you, because you follow the way, whether it's a bottle with the alcoholized wine, whether it's a can with the alcoholized wine, or whether it's a normal wine category. This is my personal opinion.
I think just wanted to ask you, I mean, you and a lot of your friends and colleagues, I think, are on the floor, right? Also understanding the guest request and the behavior. You're watching them consume
Absolutely.
different habits in different ways these days. Are you actually looking to add, have you guys created menu space for, sparkling, also to include intentionally one alcoholic version and one non-alcoholic version? Is this happening? Like, are you looking for aggressively for a producer in sparkling category, which is a non-alcoholic wine?
I guess it is something that is not mainly and widely used. I think it's a possibility to add to the normal wine list something that is alcohol-free or de-alcoholized wines.
Okay,
So people are attracted by looking at the normal wine list and finding the
understood.
new options on
So
the
still it will
same
go
list.
in a separate page where it's all non-alcoholic or low and no drinks are there
It
instead of
could be,
in.
it could be, but you have to have people who actually point that out during the way people
Understood.
normally will look at the wine list. Otherwise, they would just be by themselves and by skipping the page or the section where these wines are located.
Are there any indigenous grape varieties in the UK used for producing sparkling wine?
Oh, this is the next question. So apart from the Holy Trinity, which is normally the category that falls over Champagne, which means for grape variety such as Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier, in England and United Kingdom in general, I have seen the use of two special grape varieties that are quite distributing over the United Kingdom, and are Bacchus. If you have heard of that, it's a grape variety that was taken from Germany, originally in the late 1930s, but then brought to the market in the late 70s. And Bacchus is a grape variety that normally falls under the similarity to the Sauvignon Blanc because of the citrus character, and it gives particularly nice and crispy dry white wine. And normally this grape variety is added into the blend of an English sparkling. Not in a big percentage. It normally falls between 8 and probably 12%, but it still conveys a good characteristic wine, very pleasant, especially in the still version, but also into the sparkling. And the second one that I discovered over my tasting around the wineries, especially in the south of England, is the so-called Seyval Blanc, which can be also produced into the red version, but in England it's mainly on the white. It's also a kind of grape variety that ripen quite easily, so that really helps, especially in the south of England. And the focus is to have something that is similar to the Chardonnay, because sometimes, or more than sometimes, it is used with the malolactic fermentation. So it conveys a little bit more body to the white wine that it generates. So it really helps the blend of some lovely English sparkling, less than Bacchus. I would say between 3 and 5%, if I'm not wrong with the percentage, but still it's a combination into the blend, which is always focusing on the three main grapes, as I mentioned at the very beginning. Chardonnay is the king still, all throughout the United Kingdom, followed by Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier, which is the main one used for sparkling wine, which have now come to the everyone's attention, especially in the last few competitions in London during the London Wine Fair, or Imbibe, because of the awards that have gone with them, especially for sparkling rosé, which are very curious and very nice at the moment to see how far they come.
How can sparkling wines produced globally compete with UK sparkling wines growing in the reputation and economically more viable due to not being subject to the duty? So basically, the question is, right, like you yourself, I mean, UK has a great growth happening with the sparkling. So what are some tips, or how do you see this comparison of international sparkling wines with the UK sparkling wines? What can be the differentiating factor when they're pitching to a sommelier, let's say?
If you have to pick some of the more exciting new grape varieties on the market or new sparkling wine, you definitely will see something outside the box. So you think outside the box, and you want to add to your sparkling list something that is not just based on champagne in every kind, form, and style, say, probably sparkling wine coming from Prosecco area, so of course Italy, and then maybe Franciacorta, so which goes into in the middle of these two categories, so champagne and Prosecco, so they will find a middle way. Definitely now champagne, so sparkling phase from the UK, sparkling from Brazil, sparkling from Argentina as well. So South America is really doing great. And I cannot forget something coming us from Chile as well. So I guess sparkling wine is a big category under which it follows a lot of good quality wines. The problem coming to the UK market is how they are taxed, and of course the duty taxes that are behind. So sometimes the choices of sommelier goes not just because they don't want to have that great variety or that kind of product, it's simply how much it does cost and the final price that will go out to the final consumers. So if you need to be mindful, you will have a page of sparkling wine starting from something that people will feel much comfortable with. And it could be starting always with what they really know. And it will always start with champagne, probably. The second one will be something related to the grape variety that are on the rising. And this is something that for me is really important because you give choices to the final customer, whether they are in the mood of trying something or whether they are more price oriented. So to me is always to have a good quality wine list that showcases all the good products of the country. So in that case, of course, we're talking about UK. So you need to put forward the wineries and the wine that they got a lot of accolade or they have been awarded for. This is something to really showcase what the market is doing at the moment. And then you play around with a kind of a style. And this is always very much what the customer wants. If I like to have a wine with the Vin de Reserve, I will look for something like champagne or an aged champagne or something that is more related to history. And in my glass, I will have something very bold, very luxurious, and at the same time, very much on the nutty side. If I want something a little bit more refreshing, I will pick for something more related to a Blanc de Blanc or Chardonnay base, whether it comes from Champagne or whether it comes from the south of England and in Kent, for example, or in Sussex. Or if we can talk about international, then of course I need to look for something South America, as I mentioned before, and definitely the logistic, so the way and where you can find this product will allow sommelier to pick it more wisely, how they are distributed. Will I pick from a portfolio so I know these grape varieties are there, or should I rely on my accounts manager that will showcase me the latest new addition to the portfolio? So I guess it's a mix of everything. But to be economically more viable, you need to consider the price. You want to approach the UK market, you need to have a good price tag from which the sommelier can really add value by adding the final product to the wine list.
I wanted to ask you on that, on the which categories or countries, you named a few countries like Brazil, Argentina, can you give us some perceptions of the countries and how they're perceived? Like Brazil, for example, is it perceived as a value pricing or premium? Where are they sitting? So can you just throw us like 4 or 5 different countries that are coming up with sparkling wines in UK and what category are they perceived at?
So I do rely on what I see retail-wise and by the presentation of my accounts manager. So normally Brazil is perceived as a premium category, especially when it refers to the Blanc de Noir. So when it's based on Pinot Noir or black grape varieties. Definitely the price is not for everyone. But if you want to have a vibrant wine list where you can have a pick, then you should go for the most representative example. Argentina, I would say it would be placed in the middle, so between premium and very high quality standard sparkling. So I guess that they are trying to be a sister counter as Brazil, but they are probably they have to do a little bit more into what the quality is perceived throughout their styles of sparkling wine producers. If I have to pick Chile, which I know quite well because I've been there quite a few times, Chile is doing great with still wines. Sparkling wines is still in the rise middle. So it's perceived like a middle average producer, but still with a few good examples that are normally showcased during competitions. And this is great to see. If I have to pick Belgium to stay in Europe, is one of the other countries that really surprised me, because on a blind taste, I would never pick it was coming from such a place, especially for the crispiness, for the special floral aromas, and then the balance that actually had in the long aftertaste. Sometimes with a wine or a sparkling wine is short, then you think that the technique need to be implemented. And in this case, especially Blanc de Blanc styles, so Chardonnay base, are doing particularly great. If I need to collocate the Belgium sparkling wines, I would say still premium in the UK market, but because they comes out with the special gems that they have. So they actually want to be recognized as super quality. So they are placing products that are already premium. So this is why probably the price is a little bit, not a problem, but something you need to consider when you buy them. So I would also add a special category that I didn't mention before, probably coming from the Charmat method that I also tasted regarding Tasmania, or something more related to the south part of Australia, where the Charmat method is doing great, and especially coming to the market with a very fair price. And this is something also to be considered as an alternative to Prosecco. So I think that the market is doing great because there are a lot of vibrant products. The problem how they come to the UK is always price tag. So it's not a problem of quality, it's a more problem related to the price.
Understood. Because of the taxes, some brands go different pricing.
Absolutely, yes.
All right, so maybe I think I rephrase it. I'll understand it this way: that how can small producers of sparkling wine sort of storytell themselves? How can they be differentiated?
What I've been seeing in all the wine lists throughout London, especially, or just going to Edinburgh or even Southampton, the very south of England, when you go, and summer is always a good way to visit other places, is the way now new grape variety comes to a very lovely successful placing into the wine list, especially coming from Italy. That means that probably now the account manager of a lot of importers are now focusing into something more interesting for the market that have never been seen before, or have been less showcased on the wine list. I'm referring to grape varieties such as, for example, Lugana, so Garganega grape, thinking about Chiaretto, so the lovely lightly rosé from Lake Garda. I'm talking about a grape variety that comes from the Marche region, so Verdicchio, the famous wine of Marche. I think that there is an important way that importers now are taking the really focus on, which is to try to have a small company with a lot of storytelling, with a lot of story behind, that can really wider the interest of new consumers. People are very much not fed up, but very already full of seeing wine that are kind of a copy paste from restaurant to another. And when you see something that is more oriented to something I don't know, I'm more keen on trying something because of the grape, because of the place it comes from. And probably if I ask the sommelier or the person is giving me service, is actually, I haven't heard about this winery, where this winery is located, how many bottles do they produce a year? And when the numbers are very low or very much small in terms of comparison to other big companies, I probably as a consumer be more interested in trying. The downside of it, if I may, into the London market is to have a successful entrance and then probably not to trying to be always available to on the demand of the products, because sometimes the winery is so small that it didn't really focus on the very beginning, or if I started a new market, will I be able to supply this new chain market or this new restaurant? So sometimes it's just to have a combo of the two, really wanting to be outside of your country and exploring new market, and at the same time be able to supply that new market. So it's a both for both. But there is actually a big chance of now be picking by new accounts manager who are very curious and travels a lot, and they want to bring back to the UK something different and very much more interesting than others that are already being displayed everywhere, I would say.
Very nice. I think I'm seeing a lot of growth coming from Mount Etna region as well in Italy, right? Like volcanic wines and
Sicily is now one of the gems in Italy. There are a lot of white and red grape varieties that sometimes are compared to the big names of Burgundies because of their characters. And because of the altitude of Mount Etna, they really have focused the quality wines to be released on the right time and to gain more and more attraction by the public because even of the price. So they come probably one or the third of the fraction of the Burgundian ones. So I would say that, for example, Nerello Mascalese, the red grape variety, is one of the most recognized one at the moment. And I think all the glamorous talking that is behind this grape variety is giving it a full credit, absolutely.
I think this is a good question on the pricing, right? Especially where the current market is. And I think we're all going to be very price sensitive in the next 12 to 24 months, looking at the landscape of economies. What is a good price for by the glass, by the bottle? If you can just throw some examples of the cost to this restaurant, retail, what are some pricing things that you see?
So if we want to get the chance to go into a wine that has been displayed by the glass, for example, sometimes sommelier will put something a little bit less just to be displayed and to take attraction by the public. For example, if I put my usual Blanc de Blanc champagne at 19 pounds a glass, and I want my customer to discover a new sparkling that I have on the list, I may put and give it a little bit more wider window to be seen by putting the price a little bit lower on the 15 or 16 pounds a glass. That could be something appealing, but of course I need to see if after the first glass the customer is particularly interested in having the second one. That probably will give me as a sommelier a good reason to understand that my price is set right. If sometime I put the new product too low, people will perceive it as not as a quality, but as something probably to move the sellers and the sellers' offers. So we need to be a little bit more mindful. So pricing what is comfortable, the usual selection to 18, 20 pounds for a new vintage champagne, for example, and not too distant that much from something that is new. If I think about premium, I would go between 25 and 27 for a premium venue for a high quality champagne or a Vin de Réserve champagne.
For a glass, right?
For a glass, we're talking about a glass. Premium, so something that is very rare or something particularly nice because of the vintage release, something like this, or because it's served by the Coravin. So if I think something new, again, from Franciacorta, or whether from, as we mentioned, Brazil or Argentina, I would say also a little bit lower, between 23 and probably 25, still perceiving
wow,
that
I thought that Brazil, Argentina would be much lower. It's still 20 to 25 range. They're selling nice?
If you talk about premium, your product is premium. So you need to give the attraction to the people that you're talking about premium. If you go around the same product as a no vintage champagne, as a starting point.
So Adriana, when you're charging, let's say $20 a glass, what is your cost for 750 ml? Like you expect it at 80 pounds a bottle?
Normally, yes. Premium for five-star hotel will charge you a bottle between 65 and 80 pounds a bottle in a normal five-star hotel environment. If you talk about probably wine shops where you can enjoy a glass of bubbly with some nibbles, then probably you will go around 45 to 50 pounds.
Okay, so just so that I can recap this, so you want in 3 glasses your cost to be recovered. Is that how you normally price your by the
Normally
glass?
between 3 and 4, absolutely,
Okay.
yes. This is what the actual market in London asks for. And I try many times to be a little bit more price calmer in that side. And I would have sold less bottle than going premium. So this is something very funny about it. But price are really located on where the venue sells that products, the style of the product. Sometimes Blanc de Noir are perceived a little bit more premium than Blanc de Blanc. And especially whether you put it like an offer, like flight selection, or whether you have a unique 3 special glasses selection by the glass. So you need to have a little bit more price tag on that to consider your costs.
I think you already touched base, but if you can elaborate more on different countries here, also if you have any data or any idea on how popular the South American sparkling wines are.
So I've read a lot in the recent months about this because, of course, of my ambassador role and because I'm very curious about what is also happening here in Italy at the moment where I'm based. And I've seen that the US are trending particularly high. What I read about the US, they account for $1.5 billion regarding the sparkling market. So this is something particularly to consider. And the regions that are normally accounted, this goes especially starting from South America. As I was mentioning, the 4 main countries are Brazil, Argentina, Chile for the south. And moving a little bit north up, I've also seen the Lake District into outside New York for the Finger Lakes, and also the Oregon that it also normally used to be considered just for Pinot Noir and light red, now is starting to gain more and more attraction. So if I need to consider these numbers into the UK market, I was still not going below 1 million pounds in terms of investments and in terms of how the UK market is now giving a little bit more attention into these sparkling market, because of people want to celebrate, and the celebration is always coming to on a daily basis now. It's not just not to be birthdays or weddings or anniversary. People like to have their fizzy glass even as aperitivo, or they want to have it on a normal daily basis because it's lighter in alcohol, sometimes compared to red, and is very much diverse. So you can pair it with whichever food you have. And this is very pleasant in terms of flavor as well. So I think the possibility and how this market is expanded is a lot due to the channels in which this product is distributed. You can find, for example, coming to South America again, that there are much more distributed and channels online in which people can pick their own favorite fizz. And the way it is also physically produced, you don't have any more just glass bottle. You now have the possibility to enjoy it on a picnic with a can. So it's something that for younger people is much more pleasing and appealing. You can have your own fizz, your favorite, probably grape variety, coming in a can, and you can take it with you going to a picnic without thinking about the opener to bring this with you. So I think the way sparkling is now moving and marketing itself is very much successful. This is why I think this market will grow and grow again. And quality-wise has put a step forward. So there are average-wise good quality sparkling throughout the markets, whether it's South America, whether it's England or United Kingdom in general, whether we're talking about cava and Spain, whether we're talking about Italy, especially north of Italy with the Franciacorta, the Trento DOC, Asti Spumante, or as I mentioned before as well, with Asia, probably thinking about Tasmania with the Sharman Meadow, or if we talk about Asia again with the Japanese sparkling, which also have attracted a lot of attention in recent competition and wine fairs. I think there is a movement that is in constant growth, and is always coming to, the more you take it, the price, the less it goes down. So I think it's always a good, smart move.
I think sparkling wines overall have done good. So I think they're in good space overall compared to the overall wine category. That's a category that's been growing, so that's amazing. How to promote traditional method Italian sparkling wines?
If I take, for example, just 10 years ago, as an example, in London, which was my favorite place to make comparison with, Franciacorta or Asti Spumante or Trento DOC were less favorite to be introduced in any wine list because they were coming completely new to the market or not so known. I think now the Consorzio Franciacorta or the Asti Spumante and Trento DOC have made a lot of steps forward because the positioning stage where they actually put themselves is a good balance between champagne, whether it's still perceived as a luxury trend and object to have and to enjoy, and Prosecco, which is also the easy floral and fruity optional things. So they put themselves in the middle. And I think this category has made a lot of probably people involved into selecting them as new products because they were attracted by the flavor, which is something in between the two. There's not as much nutty and heavy or the way normally people will refer to champagne. Oh, I need a champagne, so I need to be prepared about coming in contact with champagne. So I need to be in that mindful mood. Prosecco is too easy sometimes for people who are having their lunch or their dinner. So Franciacorta will probably impose himself in between. The category has a price tag also, which is very appealing. So it's not as much expensive as champagne, and it's not coming like an entrance level price as Prosecco. So we're talking about 30-35 pounds, if I want to be honest. And if you compare a Novinta champagne that on a retail price start between 38 to 45, is always a good option to go for. If you go to restaurant, of course, as we were mentioning 5-star hotel before or clubs, you need to consider to go at least 2.5 or 3 times more. So there are Franciacorta that sums themselves between 65 to 80 pounds. And the champagne, an entrance level goes, as we said before, 65 to 80 pounds. So sometimes you have a little bit more quality for not an entrance level Franciacorta. You have a premium Franciacorta and you are attracted by trying it. And the flavor, because in the blend they tend to have the Pinot Bianco instead of the Pinot Meunier, is something even more refreshing than Chardonnay. So I guess this is something particularly nice about the traditional method. How to promote it? Put it by the glass, giving your customer a flight among which you can choose. So even if they don't know the product, they might try it by the glass. And if you win them, then they will buy the bottle. Or present it probably in the big format, in Magnum. So Magnum are always good for crowds, for people coming to parties. And what an excuse to try something new when you share a product and you can have fun by understanding new grape varieties. So I guess this could be a good hit for people who are trying to promote the traditional Italian method. So probably by the glass or in different format as a normal 0.75 bottle.
Is there a market for organic sparkling wines?
Good question. So everyone is now particularly involved into health, as we were mentioning before, and we want to find in what we eat and in what we drink something that is complementing our new idea of treating ourselves. And again, something that has a low intervention or no intervention at all from the vineyard into your final product is always something that is more attracting more people on nowadays. So I would say yes, there is a market for it. Normally off the trade more than on trade, probably, as far as I saw so far in my way of seeing wine lists and competitions. But definitely we are continuously thinking about to be environmental friendly. And so drinking something that has less intervention from the day one in the vineyard to your last bottle of wine, that your final product that you can enjoy, well, actually is something that will attract even more people, more and more people. So sometimes it's not just the label on the package, so on the bottle, is how the winery is taking this change seriously. I mean, distributors are now more and more involved in showing their customers, so people buying wine, if the winery has gone through low intervention or no intervention at all and has become organic. So I think this more interest and highlighting this in the way we purchase wine is coming to the final customer with a wider offer of products that are even healthier, a little bit more different even in the packaging, because they need to stand out from the crowd, even on the shelves. And definitely is a rising number of people that are now wanting this as a way of being their life. So if I do fitness, if I eat healthy, I want to drink healthy. So this is a combination of the three. I cannot skip one of these if I want to be totally happy. I was particularly curious when I found in many readings that there is a category now called sober curious. So people who are drinking less, but of course they are more concerned where it comes from. Whether it's a very low alcohol or whether it's no alcohol at all. And I guess people are now curious more and more to know what they are introducing in their body. So this is coming as a category of way, is a life balance way of living. So definitely be there with the right product, produced in the right way, is always a key and a smart move from every wineries. Absolutely.
I think you touched base on Japan, right? So how are Japanese sparkling wines perceived in UK?
I have talked to some of colleagues and attending the IWSC in London for the competition. And some of the flights were based on Japanese sparkling wines. The outcome alongside the sparkling wines was that they came out as delicate in terms of flavor, the delicious aftertaste, and especially the precision that were put into releasing these kind of products. So again, going blind is always a big discovery. Sometimes you cannot trace where this wine comes from if they don't give you the exact connotation of where this wine is located. And you just go blinded also with your senses. So definitely when you see precision and kind of regular income from your very first aroma and then aftertaste, you immediately think about all the world in a kind of way, because they are more traditional and more probably oriented to replicate the standard over the years or the centuries if we talk about champagne. So I guess that this is something attractive, very much attractive, and the craftsmanship that is behind, coming from the quality as a taste and from the packaging as well, as we always giving an eye on, I think will lead the Japanese sparkling a little bit more forward. And there is space enough, as we were mentioning before, to any kind of new product that has quality as a mainstream and focus on to being known and being open to any new customer. So people are more likely to try new example of sparkling that continuously just being on the same line or style that they are used to. So as a consumer, as a drinker, I will try it, and I continually be more open to something that is always delicious. in final words.
So, Adriana, thank you so much. I want to ask you some questions about sales and distribution, especially people trying to prepare their presentations or deck for an importer, right? And for a sommelier. So
Absolutely.
we'll break it down into two. One is, if someone's knocking your door, if you're a sommelier and I'm a sparkling wine producer and just knocking your door, what do you want me to cover in my sort of elevator pitch, in my introduction? Like what all things you want to know for my sparkling wine?
First of all, if someone will just come to me and present their own wine, you need to pick the right time. So sometimes people that are new to the business just come and say, I got an amazing wine you need to try, but they are not ready with sample. They are not ready with the presentation. They can send over like via PDF, but they have physically hard copies, which are heavy to carry, or you can forget somewhere. So I think the first step for anyone new is to be ready to understand who you're going to. So the place, so understanding why you want to be there. So you need to have done your homework at home, first of all. Second, you need to pick the right time. You need to be introduced ahead of the meeting. So not just knocking or presenting yourselves. So this is something very much important for people that are so busy in London on a daily basis. So you don't have to be disruptive in short terms. And third, sometimes people who are new, they don't consider to be already in some portfolio, even though they are small importers, because the final asking question of any sommelier is, where can I find your wines? So if you are not ready distributed, or you are in the process of, it comes a very difficult for a person who loves their wine during a tasting, but to say, okay, what can we do together now? So I guess that sometimes people forget that they have to do their own steps before to introduce themselves to any head of wine or any wine director in any place in London. And people like you, Sid, or people who are involved in getting the wine and the producer, and of course the winery known in competition, in wine competition, is always the first step to attract sommelier attractions. You want to take a picture of something that you like it, you will go and find any kind of information about the winery, and you want to know where you can buy it. If you fail on the last bit, where you can find the wine, you won't have that wine in your wine list eventually. So I will suggest anyone who would like to enter the UK market to really focusing on being in any kind of wine fair where they can be showcased, and probably the same organization of the competition will like to try to help in getting into distributor or importers. And when you have that, you probably got into the network of people coming and taste your wine already, and then you can have a second step by showing or getting into a meeting with those people who were already attracted by your wines, and trying to see if there is a space for their customer in their own wine list. But the main focus would be try to get your duty sorted, how to get it imported, and then people will love to have it. Otherwise, it will be a cut-through option that it won't have a successful ending.
What are the 3 or 4 like good sparkling wine importers in UK that sommeliers usually prefer? And when you hear their name, they are known for like sparkling wines. If you can throw so that people can work with them.
So I worked a lot, and I guess for Italy, for Franciacorta, Bergman is one of the most important ones. Followed by, secondly, I would say Bibendum is also very much into, for example, Trento Doc and Ferrari, if I need to mention one of those. And again, Italy, because of the trend at the moment of Asti Spumante, also 4510 is a good distributor. If I need to go a little bit more outside the box, especially for South America, even Liberty Wine is doing great. So definitely these 4 are quite big. They might have accounts, people everywhere in London, and they can also trade outside London. So definitely I would recommend these 4.